two kids from Queens, cut from a different cloth. Now joining forces, helping you to elevate your personal brand. Yeah, I'm talking about Nicky and Moose, bringing you a never-before-seen perspective into the mindset, the mentality, the behaviors, the driving force, but more importantly, the stories behind the people and brands that you know and love the most.
Was poppin'. Welcome to Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to the YouTube Livey.
There it is.
Shout out to everybody who is joining us live. Shout out to everybody who's watching this replay, okay? I know a whole bunch of people, they be commenting later like, yo, we watching you, we see you, so I appreciate that. Shout out to Cookie Crumble. Z, I see you out there. Look, yo. Okay. I think I lost Moose. Where did Moose go? Hold on. Let me see if I can get Moose. My bad, people. I don't know what just happened. As we go and wait to get Moose, right? So let me go back to this story, and hopefully he'll pop up real quick, fast, and hurt. Here we go. I don't know what happened. That was weird. This is the problem with live shows. It just things happen. Mm-hmm. So back to the conversation. She was like, "Yo, I want to meet you." I'm like, "Yeah, why does a 15-year-old want to meet me? Why? Okay, cool, right?" We met. She gave me a super dope package of cookies and all that great stuff. So shout out to Z Cookie Crumble. Go check her out. Moose, how are we feeling?
Yeah, pretty good, yo.
Weird
pretty
little
good.
tech issue.
Yeah, it's you know what I'm saying. I think we've been managing. I'm always grateful just for our tenacity and our desire to keep pushing, man. I especially for, I mean, not to not to like take it out of proportion and chew our own horns, but man, for people who love things to be done a certain way at a high quality, all of that stuff. Yeah, we continue to push it and make it happen. So we're excited, man. Looking forward to tonight. And shout out to everyone who's rocking with us, getting ready to roll out.
So it wouldn't be right of me to not address that we have a new episode today. Of course, every Tuesday we drop a new episode. Episode, what are we, 36? 36. Funny thing, my mom was like, she saw the Roddy Ricch clip that we had, right? Uh-huh. And if you don't know what we're talking about, go check out the podcast. It's on all podcast streaming stuff right now. But she was like, you know what? Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that I just try to keep you safe and you are shy. But there are times where you're just not interested.
There it is. You got it from the source.
Right. My mom was like, yo, you are shy, but I know you are also not listening because you're not interested. You're not paying attention. I was like, okay, fair game. But, all right, so really good topic today, right, Moose?
Let's Yeah, this one I think is going to resonate with a lot of people.
So do me a favor. If you haven't shared this, share this. But let's, in the chat right now, if you struggle with the comparison trap, if you struggle with that, let me see some number ones. Type in 1. Let's keep it very simple. Type in 1. If you struggle with that, if you don't, if you're like, yo, I don't compare myself. I am who I am, and there's nobody else like me. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. Type in 2. Yeah. Type in 2. If you're watching the replay, same kind of vibes in the comments. 1, if you struggle with this. 2, if you are you don't struggle with this. If you're good, then you could probably add value to this conversation. But Moose, how are we doing this today?
Yeah, man. So it's funny, when I came up with the title, I didn't know that was an actual term used in psychology. Like, I was just kind of thinking about it, and I'm like, oh, what can we talk about today? And really think about, again, continuing to help ourselves, reminding ourselves and helping everyone really who's tapped into the conversation to get over something that I know is constantly stumbling people or getting in their way from just being who they were created to be. I'm like, oh, let's call it the comparison trap. right? So then I'm like looking, searching that exact thing. I was like, oh snap, it's an actual term used in psychology. Like people in psychology use this term to help people understand what they're going through. So when I looked it up, it said the comparison trap is the habit of measuring your life against others and is one of the most toxic behaviors we can engage in.
Wait, first of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
You know what I'm saying? I was just like, wow, okay, I knew it was an issue. Like we've all heard it before. Comparison is the thief of joy. And like, that's a little cliche, but as we've said before, one of those cliches you could take into the bank, right? It's like, okay, yep, this is a real bar. But it's talking about it's one of the most toxic behaviors that you can engage in. So I really just wanted to bring the conversation again, man. Let's talk about it. I've seen people even send direct messages after our last episode, this one that just got released today. Like, man, thank y'all for really addressing mental health and talking about personal reflection. So I said, okay, let's do it again today, but more so on this specific category. So again, Nicky, just to set it up, man, I know that when it comes to specifically in the branding and content space, it is so easy to look at, you know, people who are at the top of your industry, because that's who you're aspiring to be like. To look at them and say, okay, I want my content to be like that on day one.
Yeah.
And you're not taking into consideration some of the things that you've always mentioned. They got a team behind them. They've been doing this a lot longer. They know their kind of sweet spots and what they can be consistent at. So let's just start there before we kind of get deeper into it, because there's a list of reasons why people at the top of the industry that you aspire to be in can really create a ridiculous amount of content. And you might think that maybe they don't struggle with it. Maybe they do. But how do we just start at a realistic point of view so that we're not immediately starting and looking up to see what others are doing and kind of getting lost in the headlights, like they would say, deer in the headlights kind of vibe? How do we start and not immediately go to that?
I think it has to do with, I mean, cliche, but understanding who you are. I think we sometimes go look at other people, not only from I admire you, you inspire me and everything like that, but also for a sense of like, I'm still trying to find myself. I'm still trying to find my way in this industry, in this whole kind of social media world, in, you know, entrepreneurship. Like you're still trying to figure your stuff out, which isn't anything wrong with that. But because there isn't necessarily an awareness and a confidence when you're going and checking all these different accounts out, businesses, brands, then you start seeing, yo, they do it this way. They do it that way. Do I have to do it this way? Is that the standard? Is this how I'm supposed to do it? So I think it starts off like, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Not harmless. Well, okay, we can say it. You go in not trying to truly compare yourself, but you do that indirectly. You do that because you see what people are doing and you almost instantly go, how do I do that? Instead of, this is what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, because you kind of do need to understand the blueprint. But sometimes if we were to have the mindset of, I'm going to go do it this way, then maybe analyze it, see what works, what doesn't, and then see how other people are doing just from a gap standpoint. Not necessarily from how do I do it that way, but from a gap standpoint, I think that would help the comparison thing. But it always starts with self-awareness. It always starts with, what can I add to the industry, or where do I even place in the industry, or what I'm trying to do, before I even look at other people to be like, oh, they're my role model. Oh, I love how they do it this way and how they do it that way. You're indirectly putting pressure to yourself.
Yeah, that's so good, man. That's so good because yeah, you're right. Like I think a lot of times when you're starting off, you're looking at those who are already doing it and you're looking to gain inspiration. But slowly but surely, you start really walking away with desperation. Like you're desperate to have what they have, and it's not realistic. So it really creates a large disconnect there, right? Of man,
Hold up.
there it is.
Shout out to Organic Blackberry. Was wondering where you were last week. She hit the super chat. Serious. I guess that was like, yo, I miss you guys. You know what I mean?
Wow.
We noticed that. Shout out to you. And if any of this adds value to you while you're watching this live, definitely hit that super chat. And buy you a sticker. They're kind of fun. Stickers are fun, you know. Try it. But anyways, my bad. Had to
Love the love. Shout out to y'all for the love, man.
Facts.
But shoot, let's get transparent if you don't mind for a moment, man. Was there any point in the journey where you were caught up in that kind of trap? You know, like comparing, and you know, like just what was that like?
I think everybody can admit that they've been in that, especially like I said, getting into it. I didn't know from coming from an IT background and feeling very confident in IT background, right? Then I get into creating videos, right? And doing social media. And so I'm instantly like, okay, how do they do this? And how do they do that? And how do they do this, right? And some in the very beginning feeling like I wasn't there just yet, in which then, and we talked about this way earlier, which is the reason why I kind of valued myself from a price standpoint very low, because I couldn't figure it out. And I looked at other people like, I'm not them, right? I'm not this person. I'm not that person. I can't do this particular transition or have the time to do it like that. So I'm going to try, and I'm going to lower the price because I can't. Once I realized my dopeness, and that's not on no flex or nothing, but
Talk
I
about
feel,
it.
you know what I mean? Once I realized what the real situation was, it was a different story. I just stopped looking at other people. Like, when I look at other accounts, it's really not even to compare what I'm doing to them or where I stand to them. I honestly don't even care where I stand within this whole personal branding content vibe compared to everybody else. I really don't. And that took some time. That's not necessarily like all of a sudden like, boom, I'm born dope. Hello, right? Social media will give you some doubts. Hands down, social media will give you some doubts. There are a whole bunch of content creators. There are a whole bunch of highlight reels, right? Everybody showing their best and showing that it has to be perfect and it has to be a certain kind of way, right? So that can be intimidating, once again, if you're not self-aware and understanding your true gifts and vibes, right? Even till this day, I'm not even gonna hold you. Even till this day, I can't really put an exact spot on what my gift is. I stopped trying to figure that out.
Really?
Facts.
Wow.
I can't really figure that out. I just know I'm really dope in certain areas, right? But to sit there and say, this is a gift, like, I don't know about that, right? But that's because, and this is an honest, super transparent conversation, right? So we listen to E clearly, right? Shout out to E. And he was always like, the gift this, the gift that, know your gift, everything about your gift, blah, 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 right? When I first got on board, I'm like, yo, you tell me one gift. You tell me this, you tell everybody this one gift, right? And I actually, in the very beginning on our Sunday calls, when I was a little peon, right? I was a little person, right? Even though I am little, I'm still little. But I asked, I was like, yo, I could do these things, right? And when other people said it, it was like, nah, you ain't good at all these things, right? I was like, nah, I do this, I do this, I do this. You know what he said?
What's that?
Nicky, you're a mutant. Understand, I was messed up after that. I was like, what does this even mean? Right? What does this mean? Even still, till this day, right? Till this day, and you know this, he will clearly identify everybody as a pilot, flight attendant. When it comes to Nicky, it's Nicky. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I am not fully aware of these gifts, right? Because you could clearly point it out to everybody else. Boom, 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 boom. I'm just like, okay, I have the dopeness of creating content. I have the dopeness of storytelling. I have the dopeness of strategizing and making sure I can make money and make other people money. Like, that's a fact, right?
That is a fact.
And other things, but to sit there and say, this is your gift, here you go. So I stopped looking at other people to be like, oh, so since this is my gift and this is their gift, let me figure it out how they did this. And I'm a mutant. Okay, great. In my assessment, it makes me feel very bipolar. I'm a flight attendant and pilot in certain seasons, very equal or close to, right? Makes you feel bipolar, great, cool, yay, right? Then all my natural stuff, Black, Puerto Rican, New Yorker, just mixed up. Just all the way mixed up. However, so I know that already is a unique vibe. What are you comparing yourself to?
Wow.
What are you comparing yourself to? It doesn't matter what you do. Look at yourself as a whole, and as a whole, you're unique. So how you do things within your craft is already going to be unique. Like, so I can't compare me to, now I could be inspired to do this and to do that and take this and go like that. I can be inspired, but I can't compare. I'm going to post what I want to post. I'm going to do whatever I want to do. I'm an only child. I have that vibe.
That's why we get along. We're both only children.
Yay! That's my buddy. Okay, so tag your it.
Yeah.
With the comparison, because you tend to like process and you're like, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
Yeah, full transparency, man. I think as I really studied myself, I think there are two things that put me in the comparison trap, and here's how I broke out of them. All right. The first one is what I call the over-under syndrome. All right. And again, this ain't no deep thing, man. I just like to give like these play on words to help people memorize and identify with what this thing is, right? But what it is overvaluing other people's talents and underappreciating your own talents. So very similar to what you said, Nix, but that's what I struggled with early on. I immediately would hype up or make bigger what other people did and look at my own abilities. And I'm not even going to say gifts. I'm just going to say my own abilities, the things that I can do well or don't struggle with too much, and immediately downplay the importance, downplay the value, downplay the worth of it, and say, that's not really like, that's not going to move the needle like that. That's not going to push revenue like that. So that was the biggest thing that I realized, or one of the biggest things, one of two things that I realized was my biggest downfall was that off the bat, I was not giving myself the respect that I deserve. All right, Q Birdman's put some respect on my name real quick.
Facts. Let me get that. Let me
You know
find
what I'm
that.
saying? And at some point, you have to get to that position for you where forget what the outside says, but just through the sacrifice, the dedication, the effort and energy that you put into the work, that alone should give it a certain amount of value and worth and appreciation that you should care for it. I'll never forget speaking to somebody when I first came back around ETA, I joined Game Changers in the speakers program, and I was speaking to one of the people there, and I said, yo, how are you so confident, in what you do? And it would just said, the answer was simple, and I was kind of amazed, like, really? That's what made you put such high value on what you're doing? And they said, well, I'm taking time away from my family to be here or do this work. So there's already a level of sacrifice that's increasing the value of what I'm doing. I'm like, really? That counts as value, as worth? I'm like, I've done that, and I'm sure, Nicky, the beginning of our journeys have been crazy, man. Like sleeping in airports, sleeping in cars, taking trips when you should have flown, like driving to save money I'm just being serious. We really came from another.
I'm hitting all the sounds on that one. All the sounds.
It's like, I know we weren't necessarily a part of the original founding crew, but we had a different level of struggle, a different level of sacrifice to appear on the high level, although we weren't there yet, whether it be mentally, financially, emotionally, all of these things, and had to put in so much work and sacrifice to make it happen. So where you see us today has been, 5-6 years in the making, where it's like, that should give value just for what I'm doing. We haven't even gotten to the outside yet. Just internally, you're valuable, you're worthy, all of these things because of the sacrifice, effort, and energy that you put towards what is it that you're in pursuit of. That's number one. The second part of it, and this happened even earlier on, and this is where comparison really started happening for me. I was so fascinated, like almost obsessed with having a fancy title. I'm like, yo, I gotta be able to answer the question, what do you do? With like some fire mic drop type of, I'm a executive, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, man, that killed me. So in the very beginning, and I'm taking y'all way back since we're going to the transparent route today. In the very beginning, I was playing baseball, even in high school, right? I've always had to work, right? Just where we were from our family, that's where I had to work. So the only real job that I can keep while playing baseball after school and on the weekends was something in the hospitality industry. So I started bartending in high school, like my junior or senior year, because while you had to be 21 to consume alcohol, you could serve it at 18. So I started bartending, making some decent money.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember Bruno's on the Boulevard. Shout out to the Queens people. Y'all might know Astoria Boulevard, 89th Street or 88th Street, right next to the McDonald's. There was a catering hall there called Bruno's on the Boulevard. That's where I got my first job, you could call it, where I was bartending there, right? And I was making decent money. I was able to do everything I had to do, school, baseball, the whole nine. And then I started hanging out with people who were a little bit older than me as I was getting into college. And whenever we were out, that question would come up. Yeah, so what do you do? All right. And I'm like, felt so embarrassed to say that I was a bartender. And ended up taking a huge pay cut, right? Just so that I can get a position at the office in the catering hall, so that I can be more so involved in the sales process, so that I can start saying, I'm a sales associate, or, like something that just sounded a little bit more elegant than serving drinks. And so I made less money, right? I disrupted my flow, my everything because of the title. So the other part of it is, you know, and I think there's a lot of people who might be there too. It's like you're putting too much energy and emphasis on what you are going to call yourself to the world that is taking away so much from what you should be focused on and working towards. So those two things right there, Nick, for me, man, they knit me pretty hard.
That's so important that you said about the title. Like, a lot of people get hung up on the titles. Like, I literally, like, I don't like titles. I don't.
Yeah.
Made that very clear before. Mm-hmm. Like, it's funny. Shout out to Sue B. Zimmerman, the Instagram expert over there. She was like, "Oh, for your title, like let's work on the SEO purposes. Let's put a title on your Instagram joint." I said, "I don't do titles. I put one of one. I put one of one. I can't." And it's even with ETA. What do they call me? Hold on. It's like business. It's in the email. Yeah. It's the only reason I know this. They have it on my little, what's that thing? That signature thing that I never do. Business development strategist. That has nothing to do with what I do. Right. But then again, what do you title me? Like, you don't. Like, they didn't even know what to do. They were like, yo, we're just going to give you this because we really can't figure out. So, for a place that is supposedly corporate kind of vibes, family vibes, whatever, but is super big on titles. This is your niche. This is what you do in the company, right? And you can't even give me a title. Why am I going to stress out about a title? I can't. I'm good on that. I'm super good. Like, when I was doing the IT stuff, that's easy to give me a title, right? But when it comes to this creative world, it's like, you're Nicky. Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. And not feeling pressured to have senior creative director, blah, 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 blah. Like, not feeling pressed to have that. Because what is, that doesn't necessarily, me having a title doesn't give me more money.
Yeah.
Me not having a title, the second I was cool with that, the price went up. Wow. Facts.
That's deep. And the crazy thing, though, just to point out, like, notice that Nicky said when she became cool with that, like, no one had to approve it or give a certain signature. All right. And that's the biggest part of it, man. Like, a lot of the times we are in our own ways. Mm-hmm. So we come up with things that are not even true. Like, one of my favorite quotes that I've really had to read and sit on is, it's not what you don't know that's killing you. It's what you believe to be true that's just not so. You know, so it's those things that you accept as the absolute truth and you walk and live and breathe like, no, this is the truth. And in reality, it's actually a false belief. Like, it's totally backwards. And it's like, it's those types of things like, what gave you the idea that you needed someone's permission or approval or acceptance to walk in who you are? You know, and it's like, as you really start breaking that stuff down, it can get a little crazy. Like, oh, wow, all along, I've created these false enemies when really I'm the one to blame for it. Right. Because I told myself I needed their yes, or I needed their approval, or I needed their acceptance. When in reality, that's often the furthest thing from the truth. So anything else you want to add, Nick? I want to jump on the other side of it for a moment just to kind of see like what can happen there as well.
No, I don't have anything else. I'm laughing at something.
What'd you see? Tell us. Hilarious. I love it.
Oh my God. Shout out to our viewers. Shout out to those who are watching the replay. Just make sure you subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the podcast on the audio side too. You know what I mean? Where are we going with this? Where are we going with this?
She said, okay, hold on. Where are we at now? Man.
I probably did have something, and I can't figure it out. It threw me all the way off.
Oh, man. Hey, this is the beauty of the live show, I guess you'd call it. You know what I'm saying? You can't even edit the reactions. It just is what it is.
I can't.
Yeah.
And my facials is just like...
Yeah.
Shout out to Isaiah. Oh, my God. Shout out to Isaiah for the super chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But let's take it outside of the personal space and now start thinking more so content and business context. Mm-hmm. All right. I don't know if there's ever a time where, you stopped yourself literally, like we talked about in the description for today, where you stopped yourself from hitting that share or that post button and held on to content because of just what you thought the standard to be, or for whatever reason. But talk to us a little bit more about the solutions now. If not for you, what would you advise others who are like, man, like I got this content, I created it, but I don't want to share it because I don't know if it's going to get a certain amount of likes, or I don't know if it's going to, hit or get interaction, or I've been asking my people, what should I post, and no one's responding. Like I often hear people saying that too. But talk about some solutions for that side of it.
I would have to say, post it anyways. And the great thing about having our own platform is that we could post another one.
Another one.
And then another one.
Another one.
Come on.
And then another one. Oh, wait.
Another one.
There we go. Right? We're allowed to make as many successful and as many failure posts as we want to. And there's no one really truly clocking us of what's working and what's not. We are the only ones that clock ourselves. None of our followers are like, okay, what did the post do today? All right, it only got 10 likes. You're trash.
Wow.
You know what I mean? There's no one who is checking except for extreme haters, and that means you made it. Congratulations, right? But there's really no one who checks us like this. You're checking yourself. And like I said earlier, we have expectations of, what it's supposed to be. But the only way we get these expectations is because we're comparing. We're seeing what these accounts are doing, and we assume for it to be successful, I have to have over 1,000 views, over 10,000 followers, all that great stuff. Like, we're looking at that when it comes to launches. If we're not making 10K a launch, it's trash, or even sell 5 things. We have to also be realistic with where we are. I'm very big with saying, stop comparing your 5th post to somebody's 557th post. It's a different journey. It's a different vibe, right? You're not going to get the same results. Check their 5th post. See what happens. People can scroll all the way back to my 5th post. It ain't doing nothing compared to what my posts do now, right? Go all the way back to E's stuff. His 5th post has nothing compared to what he's doing now. And so we have to understand that it's our expectations that really kill us, and our high standards, which is not necessarily wrong, but when you make it more of a pressure than a checkpoint, that's a problem. And so we have to look at it from, I'm going to post this, and I'm truly going to collect it for data. Or I'm truly going to do it because I want to do it. It's your platform. There's no rules. There's no true rules to this content stuff, to this social media and online presence stuff. There's no true rules about it. There's suggestions. There's best practices. There's no rules. And so you're comparing a non-existent thing. If there was a rule book, you have to look at the rule book and you have to be like, yep, I got to abide by this, or I'm going to get fined, or I'm going to go to jail, or I'm going to do this. There's nothing happened to you besides your pride going down if you have 10 likes. Okay. So I don't know what really to tell anybody besides chill out with the pressure of expectations and post it because we need to see your stuff. Create products because we need your solutions when it comes to our problems, right? Show up because you want to show up. But you, depending if you show up because you feel like you're ready compared to them, is trash. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So, I don't know, just post. I don't know.
Yeah. I love that. I'm always fascinated at like when you think or expect the answer to be so deep. And it's just, it's so simple, but it hits. It really hits. It's like, just post it. Right? Like simplify it. We've joked about this before, like billion and trillion dollar companies. Also, what are you going to name this amazing company? Apple. Really? That simple, huh? Right? Like they just simplify the game. And that's a big lesson there. All right.
Hold up. Shout out to Isaiah Jones, a different Isaiah. For the super chat, shout out to you. Go ahead, Moose, my bad.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Another thing, and I want to, and forgive me, I said let's go business and content, and I want to go back on one personal thing again, just one more thing that I think is just as important, right? And if you're not a spiritual person, again, don't take this out of context and be like, oh my God, you're speaking about whatever. And like, relax, right? Let's just catch the nugget, right?
Right.
And the thing that I realized, man, is so many of us use the labels that the world give us, but we never really look to the labels that God gave us. Again, I'm a believer, so I'm gonna go with what I believe.
Wait, first of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
I'm sorry. So let me tell you why, right? And again, I told you guys my story. An immigrant from Egypt who's Muslim moved to New York 4 years into this migration in pursuit of the American dream. I experienced 9/11 from my school windows. Overnight, media labeled me as a terrorist. Boom. That was just the end of it, right? That's how it went down.
I thought that was a firecracker. I was like, yo.
Sorry, no, I spilled over the water bottle a little bit, but it's good. Cap is sealed. We're good. So I walked my road, my experience, my journey, looking at all the labels people gave me. Terrorist, Mufasa, mustard, all these different crazy labels, right? Never went to the word to see what God gave me. And the minute I finally mustered up the courage or just got the idea, because it was never talked about, and I went and looked up my name. And God says Mostafa is not only one of the prophets in the book, but also the meaning of the name is the chosen one. Spin it however you want to at that point. Chosen to do great things, chosen to break curses, chosen to bring people of diverse backgrounds together. And I'm like, hold up. Why have I paid attention to their labels and not ever looked at his labels? Man, and if you can just, again, shift that perspective to look from outside toward inward, man, it changes the game. it changes the game. So Nikki, like I had to go back because again, we're being transparent today, but I had to go back to that, kind of like as we decode what we did to arrive at least the path that we're on today. That was one of those biggest things for me, that I realized how important it was, these labels again, and what compares or what starts the comparison. And when I got to the root issue and I found a reliable source, a consistent source, it just, there's a lot of changes that happen on that front.
I mean, but that's the whole journey of self.
Yeah.
Right? That's the whole journey of self. There's different levels to the self-awareness and the true reason why we're here. It's always a different reason per person, right? So your reason is different than mine's.
Sure.
Than what's different with Z's and Truth Music Live and everybody on this show right now. But some people are just like, I'm here, I'm supposed to do this, I created this, so this is me because I created it. And not really going back to who created you. Why don't you tap into that instead of what you feel like you created, right? And who you are around and being a product of your environment. That's cool and all, but it's really a deeper situation. And until people truly understand that, like, this branding and business thing is nothing compared to truly why we're here. Like, true, it's just part of it.
True.
It's just truly part of it. Yeah. But that's a whole different convo.
Yeah.
For maybe a whole different time. But I'm just saying, it's rooted into that. And that's why I always say social media isn't that deep, because we give too much power to it. We give too much power to running a business, running a brand, and that truly identifies us. But that's just a piece to what we're supposed to be doing. Because there's impact that's supposed to be happening. There's lives we're supposed to be changing. There's money we're supposed to make so we can continue to impact certain things. So figuring that out to what is the real true meaning of you and who you are and what you do different, that could take a lifetime.
No, for real.
Don't people, please do not feel pressure. Like I said, I still don't know my gifts. I'm cool with that, right?
Yeah.
I'm cool with it. And once again, I always shout out my mom because I know she's watching, right? Shout out to my mom because she'll know this. I'm always yo, Nikki, what do you want to be when you grow up? Like, what do you want to do? I never knew. Still to this day, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Like, and I don't care. I live more of a now person, and I know what my purpose is for right now. That can change tomorrow.
Right.
God could be like, boom, here you go. You gonna go over here. Give up all your J's. God, please don't do that. God, if you hear me, I'll give up one because I'm not even going outside like that much. Maybe this weekend, but But anyways, that's a whole different conversation. But I'm just saying, the whole comparison game really is a self-reflection kind of vibe. Mm-hmm. And though it happens to the best of us, what are we going to do to stop it? And I don't care. And shout out to everybody who put 2, who says they don't have that problem, right? There are still some situations where I get caught up and look at it like, wait, am I supposed to do this? And I have to like, hold up. You ain't even like this. Like, chill out. What does it matter how they do it? But I'm trying to reach this amount. Like, but I'm also not so above everything to understand that there is still a certain kind of way to do things. Mm-hmm. right? I'm not going to name myself the same thing if I'm creating a new brand that's already out there. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it. All right? I'm not doing this saying because I named myself this, it's going to be different. I'm not doing that. Right?
Especially if it's common, yep.
Yeah. Especially if like 4 or 5 other people have that name. I'm just saying. But
right.
That's a whole different thing. I don't know. This is me.
But I think just to kind of bring it home too, I love that you often speak about this. I tap into your lives as well, and I like, hear you talk about, at the end of the day, people want to see your journey, right? Like, although sometimes we often compare because we're not where we want to be, or we aspire to be where someone is. So we're quickly comparing to try and measure up, or maybe even do things on the outside, whatever superficial things we might be tempted to do just to kind of make it seem like we've already arrived. Mm-hmm. What we really fail to realize is that people are really inspired by the journey. Like, no one is ever into something because off the bat it's perfect. It's like, oh man, my man just got up and he's already like killing it. It's like, no. We appreciate someone's story because they've gone through something and they've turned a trial into a triumph, right? Like just like in a movie where you see that the hero or the protagonist, the main character is aspiring to do something, but he's hit with something that is a big life challenge that's in his way. Mm-hmm. And we see them struggle, but they persevere and get on the other side. So like, at the end of the day, also just know that at the root of a really good brand, a really good business, is a story that resonates with real life experiences that everyday people go through. Because very few brands or very few businesses are able to make a killing only appealing to the 1%ers of the world. Mm-hmm. Very few. Like, yeah, you're going to have your luxury brands, but there's a certain amount of them, right? There's a lot more everyday people who are just trying to be the best version of themselves, that if you were to just really give your story, especially if that's who you are, like if you don't come from privilege, if you don't come from an affluent background, there's no need to pretend that that's who you are or where you come from, right? Like, actually live your experience, share your journey. And let the people who are dealing with something similar connect with you and where you're at. And that is going to be a better fit for your personal brand, your content, and your business than any sort of facade or persona that you can even successfully pull off. Because like you always said, and speak onto this and I'm done. I won't keep spinning it, but how long can you possibly do that for? Because I love that part. It's like, even with whatever you put up, if it's not the real you, can you really be consistent with it?
Yeah, I mean, first off, not only is it exhausting to not be you, I'm always big on saying it's expensive not being you as well. Right? Wow. It's expensive because time is money as well. And you're wasting time not being yourself. Whether it is to, to impress followers you may not ever really meet, or keep up with the Joneses. Maybe your circle is a certain kind of way and you feel as if you have to live up to that kind of standard. I need this particular look and this particular camera. I'm not even going to go with the typical house, cars and everything like that, but my content's supposed to look like this. My website's supposed to look like this. My products are supposed to already have the best labels and things like that. And you're not really understanding that you were meant to have a certain kind of journey. And that's supposed to be documented in some way, shape, or form, however you want it to be, right? And in that, it shows how you naturally and truly went about building your brand, about building your business, about becoming your true self, right? Mm-hmm. 9 out of 10 times, being your true self costs nothing, right?
That's real.
Absolutely nothing. And then to the point where you are so much in your true self and you put that all out online that really almost everything that you do didn't cost you anything. E is real big on this. E is like, my hat didn't cost me nothing. My shirt didn't cost me nothing. Maybe my underwear cost me something. Maybe, depending on the day. The socks, possible. I don't know. Nike likes me, right? Shoes didn't cost me nothing because all these years, I've been myself and people respect who I am and what I have to say, that they just want to give me stuff to be myself.
Wow.
No one's going to give you a car. Mm-hmm. No one's going to give you a fancy house. You have to go and get that. And if you're not ready for that, you're going to be in a whole crap load of debt. Probably become depressed because you're living a fake lifestyle. And you're like, oh, this isn't really what it was meant to be. And then you're surrounded by people who are just like that, who really ain't there for you because that's not even you.
Yeah.
So it's better to create a brand and a business that reflects your true self, because when you wake up in the morning, that's who you are. You don't have to switch it on. Cold in your eye, bad breath, you're still the same person.
Man, that's rich, y'all. That's rich. Wow, that's amazing. I love that. And it's true, because you've heard, a lot of successful people often say that the wealthier I got, the less money I had to spend. Because, like you said, that respect factor grows so much as you grow that people want to pay for your food. They want to send you free clothes. Like all the things that you were going after and striving to attain, people are now giving it to you for free just out of respect for who you are. It's almost like a gift or a present for pushing off the world's pressures and being able to stay true to yourself. That's like the gift that you are rewarded with after a long battle of the world trying to break you to become more of what you should be instead of who you truly are. So that's the beauty of it all, man. This has been great, Nick. Let me take a moment again, man. And I like to do this publicly from time to time because I never want to take it for granted. I appreciate you. I think you're an incredible human being, and it really is an honor for me to continue to show up and do this thing with you that we've been rocking with since coming up on a year pretty soon here. Actually, no, we passed the 1 year mark. Yeah.
We probably
passed the 1 year mark. Shout out to the OGs who've been on the Facebook. Yeah.
Probably. I think, yes, because I checked my Facebook memories and it was like the early Yeti days. Like I had a little blue Yeti thing. Wasn't so much lighting. It was a whole different vibe. It was the early vibe. So yes, that was it for sure. Yeah. But I got a question for you, right? Talk to the people who still is not fully aware of self, right? Hasn't taken advantages of the different tools, the different resources, and pretty much doing it by themselves. And hence why social media, TV, movies, all that great stuff is such an influence, whether good or bad. Because I'm not going to sit here and say everything is bad influence just because you're not super aware of yourself. Sometimes people are very blessed to have an immaculate social media following and been watching everything amazing in the world, right? And they're not so affected, and they seem to be going through the right path, but you still hit a ceiling at some point, right? So there's a gap between truly figuring out who you are and then just kind of going blindly into it. So talk to those who may just need, like, what do I do? Who just isn't right there.
Yeah. No, I think you definitely bring up a good point, because it's something that at some point, everybody in their experience and their existence is going to need to press the brake and start having questions. And we've seen a lot of different variations of it. Like some people go back to their roots and their traditions and they want to know their ancestry, you know, like similar to the group that we had on Extreme Execution a couple of weeks back that told you about, you know, that one service that looks up your genetics and it lets you know your ancestry. Other people dive deeper into self and they're like, okay, hold up. Like, what is my mind actually telling me? My entire life, I've been reactive and a slave to my mind or a slave to my ego. Shout out to anyone who's ever read The Power of Now, a phenomenal book by Eckhart Tolle. That was the first piece of literature that I ever read that helped me to understand, whoa, you've been a slave for 26 years, straight up. You have zero control over your thoughts, over your desires, over your emotions, over your mind. You have zero control. And it started helping me to understand this concept of a higher self and ego and how the ego can dominate the mind. So at some point, you have to pick up a book. You have to literally stop what you've always done. Pick up a book and start enjoying the learning process a little bit more than you enjoy having fun.
Right.
Because that was the big switch for me, Nix. I had to stop living and enjoying life and really start learning what has my life represented and what has my habits and my mind and my thoughts and all of that contributed to, both good and bad. And I started that breakdown of really studying, like, okay, what's happening? Like, how can I take better control? How can I create the good more consistently and not fall victim to these high highs and super low lows that can cycle for more than 3 months at a time? So resources, one tool that's super inexpensive. Again, I mentioned it. Shout out to Overland, dropped it in the chat. The Power of Now. It's a book by Eckhart Tolle, phenomenal book. Absolutely loved it. Probably get it off of Amazon, 8, 10, 12, 15 bucks, whatever it is, but a great book to start that journey. Of course, another tool, if you want to rock with us, as you know, we are huge behind the flight assessment, flightassessment.com. There it is. You know the deal. Huge component into our development and really helping us to understand who we are in 4 main quadrants. Like, what is our behavior really telling us? And how do our behavioral patterns create certain outcomes for us, whether favorable or unfavorable? Flightassessment.com is another great tool. So, and then of course, Nicky and Moose, this podcast, like that's literally what we're all about. Like Nicky said, yeah, on the outside, you're going to see branding and business, but behind it all, we know it's a lot of the personal battles that you got to fight and overcome to really blow up your brand and your business. So yeah, Nix, that was, that's a couple resources for the people that I think can really help them untap that.
Shout out to Truth Music Live for the super sticker. You know what I mean? For the super sticker. I like the little super. Yeah. And so real quick, this is what I need. Shout out to everybody who's watching live. Shout out to everybody at the super chat kind of vibes. Definitely stop holding all this information to yourself. Okay? Share this live, especially this live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Share this live. Share the podcast. Text people. I don't need you to do a whole major post, but somebody who you think is going to really value this. Send them the podcast. You're like, yo, listen. Send them your favorite episode. You know what I mean? Be very intentional. Yo, I really liked the wins and losses, the most recent one. I really like when you guys went over Nas. I really like whatever it is, right? Go check whatever your favorite. Okay, do you have a new favorite one? Do you have a new favorite?
Yo, honestly, I really like this last episode that we did. With all due respect, with all due respect to all the greats that we've covered, I really feel that our last episode was a lot more just about our own truth. Mm-hmm. And I think that's going to resonate with the people, quite a bit. So, definitely, man, tune into that last one. And I typically don't ask this because, and I know Nicky and I have conversations about this, we really don't care for numbers. But I think we're getting to at a point in just our own personal journeys that we really do have a lot more to say, a lot more to share, and a lot more to teach. And we really need your help in growing this community. So and not growing it again for the numbers, but just because we feel like, man, more people can really benefit from what we have to bring to the table. Like you're looking at two people who literally are from two different parts of the world, who are different in a lot of different ways, from religious beliefs to whatever, like just so many different ways, but have been able to work out their differences to come together and make this platform happen for y'all. And with 39 or 36 episodes deep into it, so you talk about 36 weeks, not to mention some of our other collaborations, and really make it happen. That's an example for some of the struggles that are happening in our world. So help us to grow this community. Help us to expose more people to what we're about, because I really do believe that we're about to impact people in a major way. And the only way that we can get more people to live out the values and the things that we believe in is to share this with as many people as possible. So that's, again, I never ask y'all for anything. Rarely. I'm more the super like, let Nick's do all the pitches. I'm gonna just chill in the back. But right now I'm realizing there's really a need for what we're doing. And seriously, man, if y'all can do me that favor, share this, let expose more people to what we're doing, and let's start building a community and a tribe of people that can go into their own spaces, into their own communities, and live out some of these values and principles that we're teaching, so that people can reach, their own freedom, can master themselves, right? Can build something, a small brand, a big business, a small business, whatever it is, to really impact as many people and live out, that purpose and that gift that they all have. So yeah, help us to do that, man. That would really mean a lot.
I feel like I don't have to say anything. I don't know. Oh, wait. I do have to say something. The people want to know an update on married life. Hey!
Bling, bling.
Look at the ring. Look at the ring. How's married life? How's everything?
Man, married life has been incredible, man. I'm extremely blessed. I think it's helped me reconnect with a part of me that has been kind of vacant and silent for truthfully, man, almost a year. And I was getting a little concerned, like, man, I'm not as creative. I'm not as expressive. I feel like I have nothing to share. I feel like I'm not seeing life the same way I was before. And I'm at a point in my career where people are depending on me to say and speak more. What's going on? And, grateful, man, grateful. I think that this decision, this step, this experience is really helping me to really start, do more of what I just did, which was something that was common that kind of has been vacant in me. So I'm just trusting my gut, trusting my intuition, and following my heart a little bit more, and kind of saying like, okay, yeah, you might be smart and all that, but let your mind chill out for a little bit. People need to connect with your heart. So yeah, that's the best way I could sum it up.
Big facts. So we are out, people. Make sure you follow us everywhere. Okay, hit that bell. This is what I forgot we're on YouTube. Hit that subscribe, like, and bell, and all that great stuff. Share this with somebody. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. And once again, shout out to everybody who hit that super chat. If you haven't already, go down. There's this like little $sign thing. You get like stickers and give tips and all that great stuff. Support the brand, because we love y'all and we do this for y'all. But we're out. We will be back same time, same place. Different topic. Different topic.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the topic will be, but it's a different topic, right? Wait. Hold on. So, Moose, are you becoming a high D? No, he's not.
Why? Because I'm married?
Right? Because
No.
because he's married, he is a pilot. Yay! Nah. Yeah, but we're out. Love you guys. You already know what we're gonna say. Holla.
Peace, y'all.